This is the Intro to SolidWorks video, and first thing we're going to do is open SolidWorks, and you will get to this window. We're going to make a part today, and we're going to not talk about assemblies and drawings until later. So I'm going to click on Part. Okay, so SolidWorks can look quite overwhelming to new users, and I just want to try and make sure we focus only on the bits that we're going to be using today. So we're going to look at Sketch and Features, and that's it. So Sketch is where you do drawings, and Features is where you apply effects to them. So we're going to make a sketch. You'll notice down here that we have a bunch of things that we can interact with. Origin is the center of the screen. Front plane, top plane, and right plane are just axes on a 3D drawing that we can orient to. It will become a little more clear as we go. But we just need to pick one of these planes that we're going to be orienting to. So to start with, I'm going to start with the front plane, and we're going to draw a shape. So we're going to click on the front plane and click on Sketch. Now these are all of your drawing tools. We can draw a line, we can draw a circle, we can draw a circle from the perimeter, or most commonly you draw a circle from the center. We can draw a spline, which is a bit of a complex drawing tool, and we're going to leave it for now. Rectangle, you can draw from the corner or from the center. We can draw a center point arc, which is part of a circle. An ellipse, which is an oval, so it has a radius in two different directions. And then a shape like a hexagon, a polygon, or a pentagon, or an octagon. We can draw lots of different shapes. And this is a straight slot, which means a straight line that has curved dimension. Yeah. So once you draw the line, it draws circles on either end of the width. You can see each of these things in a little mini video that shows you when you hover over it what it's going to do. We're going to start with basics. So we're going to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to be drawing it on the front plane. And we're going to make sure that this one is center drawing rectangle. So it's going to draw from the center out rather than from the side down. And I'm going to center it on the origin. So I've not clicked anything yet. When you hover over those red arrows, the cursor turns to a little orange dot, if you can see right at the tip there, and the hover looks like there's an intersection between 2 points, 2 lines. So I'm going to be drawing from here, and when I click, I can just draw up to make a tall rectangle, draw out to make a short but long rectangle, or I can draw exact by making sure that my corner is the same in both directions. It's tricky to do this by eye, so we can just get it be as close as possible and then alter it manually. So these are all the parameters for the rectangle that we just drew. We've got the Y value and the X value for each of the points. There are 4 points in a rectangle, and so this one starts at 0, 0. And so we're going to change these numbers manually. So if we have them match, then we know that it's symmetrical, it's a square. And then we click tick. And we've drawn our first square. Now something I want to show you that's a very useful tool is the Smart Dimension tool. So we just manually manage those dimensions in the Properties window. But but we're actually going to use a smart dimension to do that for us. So when we click on a line, it will tell us exactly how big that line is, and we can actually make it a particular number of millimeters here. So if I want it to be 100 millimeters, then I click tick, and it's automatically dimensioned the whole drawing around that width being 100 millimeters. And I can click on this one, and you'll see that it's not quite a square. I can make that one 100 millimeters too, and now it is a 100 by 100 square. Now if I want to change that, I can drag that way, and it will drag the drawing to be the same. I've just hit Control Z. Control Z is your friend. It means undo. If you accidentally do something you didn't mean to, you can always undo. And so now that I've done this, I am happy with my sketch. So I'm going to click on Exit Sketch, and I might even change this so rather than saying Sketch 1, it actually has a name. So this is a square. Oops, I just spelled that wrong. Give me a second, typing is hard. Square. Okay, so now a square is not useful to us unless it has 3 dimensions. We can't print anything on the 3D printer unless it has 3 dimensions. So we're going to talk about the 2 ways that are easiest for me to turn this into a 3-dimensional object. So we're going to go back to Features. The first way is to extrude, and the other way is to revolve. So you can hover over these and they will show you a video of how they work. Extrude means to give it a 3rd dimension by just dragging that square all the way out in a different dimension, and revolve means to take that square and revolve it around one of the lines, and that will give us a revolution of that square. So let's have a look at both of these in turn. I'm going to start with a revolve. So this asks us for the axis of revolution. So if I choose this line here, it's going to revolve vertically, and if I choose this line here, it's going to revolve horizontally. And so the line that we choose is always going to form the center of the shape for a revolved boss base. Okay, so my line is the center of my shape. I want it to be a flat cylinder, so I'm going to click on tick, and now I have a cylinder. And you'll notice here that this is called revolve, but inside there is our original square. It still exists, and we can still edit it, which is really handy. So if I want my cylinder to be taller, I can drag in that direction. And if I want it to be shorter, I can drag it in that direction. Okay. And same thing here, I can drag it in that direction. Okay, so that's a revolution. I'm now going to show an extrude. I'm just Control Z to go back through the steps I just took, and I go back to my square. Now I'm going to click on Extrude, and you'll notice that it does some things automatically. I can use the arrow keys to see what's going on in multiple dimensions. So my square has been extruded in the direction of the arrow, and it's been automatically done by 10 millimeters, which is 1 centimeter. If I want a cube, I need to make that 100 millimeters. Like that. And we can just click anywhere else to see that happen. And now you'll see that if I click on this space and use my arrow keys, I can rotate around to check that that's what I want it to look like in 3 dimensions. Once I'm happy with it, I click on tick, and I now have an extruded square, which is a cube.